This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in today's class, we will try to talk about Excel. Okay, so as I've told you, we will be starting from basic to advanced. So let me just give you a small short introduction about MS Excel. So whenever I'm talking about MS Excel, it is always a part of MS Office. Okay, so it is a part of the MS Office. So where we generally call this kind of things as a suite. Okay. So MS Office suite. So suite is basically a collection of various software. Okay. So this is basically a collection of various software. So one or more softwares can be combinedly put into a suite. Okay. Now when I'm talking about Excel, so Excel is a spreadsheet. Okay, so we call it as a spreadsheet. Okay, so spreadsheet in which we have so many rows and so many columns. Okay, so spreadsheet is nothing but something which will contain so many rows and so many columns. Okay, so let me just try to open up the Excel sheet. Okay, so and one more thing that you need to remember is whenever you are working in Excel, so you also have Google Sheets. Okay, so you also have Google Sheets. So Google Sheets are nothing but Excel spreadsheets only, but they are in the cloud. Okay, so they are in the cloud. Now, for example, this is my this is my Excel sheet which is in my computer. Okay, so Excel sheet of my computer, and as I've told you, you also have Google Sheet. Okay, so you also have Google Sheets. For example, if I just go to my Gmail, any Gmail, you can just open a Gmail. So then here you can just go here on this you can just click and slowly go down, so you will find something like sheets. Okay, so click on the sheets. Okay, so click on the sheets and you can see blank spreadsheet. Okay, so you can see blank spreadsheet. Just click on this. These are the other things that you have seen are nothing but the formats or the templates, I can say. So this is also the same. Okay, so this is also the same spreadsheet. Okay, but it is shareable. So this is on the cloud. Okay, so on the cloud, for every email ID you have that. Okay, so for every email ID you have that. So I can share it now. So now if I want to share, I can share it to anyone. Okay, so I can share it to anyone. So let's look at the sharing options and everything later. So for now, we will just concentrate on. So almost everything will be same. So here and there we might see some changes. Okay, now this is my blank uh, Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so my blank Excel spreadsheet. As you can see, this notes and everything, I'll send it to you, no problem. Okay, now as I've told you, whenever you open a spreadsheet, a blank spreadsheet, so you will have so many rows and so many columns. So if I have to tell you the number of rows and number of columns, so just use control end. Okay, so just use control end. So you can see there are 1048576 rows. Okay, so control down arrow, you can say, so control down arrow, so you can see number of rows, and control right arrow, so control right arrow will show you something like except d something. Okay, so you don't have a number here, but I will tell you how what is the number. So the number is going to be, okay, so you can use control and bottom down arrows. Okay, so you can say, okay, so for your information I'll show you by the help of the on screen keyboard. So for your information, so now for example, click on control and use the bottom key. Okay, so use the bottom key, so control. Okay, so your cursor will go here. Okay, then again control top, your cursor will go to the top. Okay, so then you say control right, your cursor will go here. So if you say control left, your cursor will go here. Okay, so in this way you have to do it. Okay, so you have to do it, right? Okay, then like this we can have number of sheets. Okay, so here you can just say plus, so you'll have sheet 2, plus you have sheet 3, plus you have, so like this any number of sheets you can have. Now for example, if I want to rename this, okay, I can just double click on this and I can rename also. I can rename also. Now for example, so this is my like expenditure. Okay, so I will say this is expenditure. Okay, so expenditure, and this I will say something like uh, credits. Okay, so credits. Okay, so like this you can name it also. Okay, you can name it also. So you can hide it, you can name it. So there are so many things that you can do, but we'll be understanding everyone in a sequence. So now as I told you, we have 1048576 rows. As you can see the number over here, you can see the number over here. Okay, so when I'm talking about the number of columns, okay, so how can I go for the number of columns? So control right arrow except D. So the number is going to be, if you can see, the number is going to be 16384. So 16384, so 1048576 rows and 16384 columns. Okay, so if you try to put that in a in Excel itself, so I can just say, so okay, I'll go to the control left. So here I will try to put, so here it is 1048. Okay, so 1048576, better to remember. So and how many columns here? So these are columns. Okay, so now I'll just try to increase the font a bit. Okay, so now 104876, 16384 uh, columns. Okay, so these are rows and these are columns. Okay, now where I'm typing in a cell. I'm typing in a cell. So this is cell, cell, cell. Then how many number of cells will be there? So it's just a normal calculation. So it is multiplication of these two. Okay, so it is a multiplication of these two. So number of rows into number of columns. Okay, so how many number of cells are there? Number of rows into number of columns. Okay, so these are all cells and the cursor is there on this. So we call it as a, so we call it as an active cell. We call it as a active cell. So if the cursor is there, that is called as active cell. So and these are all the normal cells. So how many cells will be there? There will be, okay, so how to multiply these two? Now this is said to be B9. Okay, so now if I click on here, you can see here the name of this. Okay, name box. You say name box. So what is this? B9. Okay, now I want to get the number of cells. Okay, so no need to do manual calculation. So simply what I can do, I can put a function on a formula bar, on a formula. So this is the formula bar. Okay, formula bar. So in this formula bar you will use equal to. Okay, so equal to, just for example I'm saying, now I will say this and into, and I will say this and close it. So now how many cells are there? There are these many number of cells. So how I got this? I just multiplied B9 and B10. B9 and B10 I multiply. Who is B9? B9, B10. So B9 here, B10 here. Okay, so B9, B10. So we multiplied both of this and we got this many number of cells. So how many cells are there here? So there are, okay, so there are these many number of cells. Okay, there are these many number of cells. So these many number of rows, these many number of columns, and these many number of cells. Okay, So in this way, you are going to take the things into consideration. Okay, so this into consideration. So what I'm talking about here at the end of the day, I'm talking about the number of rows. So this is only for one sheet. Again, you go to this sheet, you have this many cells. Again, you go to this sheet, you have those many cells. Okay, so like this, you have total uh, number of cells. Okay, so total number of cells, right? So this is the basic understanding of the MS Excel. Okay, so and as I've told you, you have a address box. Okay, so you have the name box, rather I should say name box, cell. Okay, so scroll bar in the sense if you are trying to scroll through the pages. Okay, so if you're trying to scroll through the pages, so you can just scroll through the pages, so you can get it. Okay, so you can zoom it. Okay, so you can unzoom it like this. Okay, right, so this is about the small basic understanding of the number of rows, number of columns, and the number of cells basically. Okay, right, so when I'm talking about MS Excel here, the other things that you need to talk about, what is cell. Okay, so is the cell reference. Okay, this is very very important. So now whenever I'm talking about the reference, what I'm talking about, I am talking about two types of referencing. Okay, it is external referencing and remote referencing. Okay, so what is external referencing? External referencing means, so you are referring to the cell of other worksheets. Okay, so referring to the cells of other worksheet. Now, for example, okay, we'll not have the examples right now. Later on, we'll have. But for example, I want to use this D5. Okay, so if I want to use this D5, I can connect from here. So that is called external referencing. That is called external referencing. Okay, so when I'm talking about external referencing, that is how you need to talk about. Okay, right. So and then I have remote referencing also. What do I mean by remote referencing? Remote referencing means from other programs. So we'll talk about these two later on, but you need to know. So it is not about referencing from the same page. Okay, it's not about referencing from the same page. We can reference from other sheets also, we can reference from other Excel file also. Okay, so all those kind of things we will understand, and the same things go on with the spreadsheet also. Now for example, how many number of rows? Okay, let's write it here. So yeah, so I'll just uh, this is what I'm doing in Google Sheets. Okay, I'm doing this in Google Sheets. So if you just go on with a little bit of zoom, yeah, this will do. So now let's say I want to put number of rows and number of columns. Okay, so how many number of rows are there? So 1 0 4 8 5 7 6, right? Okay, how many columns are there? 1 6 3 8 4. So if you are in doubt, you can just check it out. So 1 6 3 8 4 1 0 4 8 5 7 6. Okay, so that is, okay, so that is number of rows and number of columns, right? Okay, now I want to have cells. So what to do now? I can write a formula. So see here, this is B6 and this is B7. So this is a Google sheet which I can share with you also. Okay, so which I can share with you also. Later on I'll do that thing. Whatever changes anyone is doing, so everyone can see the changes. Okay, so that is how the Google sheet on the cloud will give us. Okay, now I want to have a formula. What is a formula? B6. You don't have to type anything, so you just click on it. B6 into B7. Done. So you got the number of cells. Okay, so this is on the Google Docs. Okay, so this we have done on the Google Docs. Okay, Google Docs or a Google Sheet we have done. So we are doing it on the cloud basically. Okay, so this is what is a Google Sheet about. Okay, right, so anyhow we will concentrate on normal Excel, then we will go about it later. Okay. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm doing the referencing. So here we are doing the referencing. Okay, so when I'm writing this, what is this point? This is referencing. Okay, so in Excel we can make three types of references. But before going to the reference and everything, let me talk about the range. Now, for example, this is a range of cells. This is what? A range of cells. So 10. Okay, so you are taking from E9 to G18. Okay, so this is the range. So E9 to G18. So what is this? E9 to G18. So now you are having, okay, so you are having the cells from E9. Okay, so how to represent E9 to uh, G19, E9 to G19. Okay, so this is range of cells. Okay, range of cells. So what do I mean by range of cells? So let me just go down a bit and just show you what exactly I'm talking about. I'm talking about, okay, so this is how to open and all. So simple things. So we will talk about a range. So this is range. Okay, so this is C's range. Okay, so this is 3 range. Okay, third row range. Okay, so now for example, if I'm saying B2 to C4, B2 to C4. Okay, so if I'm saying individual, okay, so if I'm checking on individual, I can use the control button. Okay, so if you want to fill a range, enter the value 2. Okay, so you are filling 2. And if the two same two, if you want for all the cells also, so for all the cells, if you want to have the same, okay, for example 0, so you can just drag it. Okay, now for example you want something uh, like say 0 1, so you want 2 3 4 5. So what you can do is you can use the shift. Okay, so you can just, okay, let me tell you. So here, so you can use shift and you can select this also. So shift, by shift you selected these two. Okay, once again I'll show you. So select this, use shift and select this also, and then slowly move down. And okay, and you can see the numbers. Okay, so 0, so if you are having only one value, okay, so and if you drag you will get the same value. Okay, so 0 1, so you have to tell it the pattern. Okay, so pattern, now for example I will tell the pattern like 1 3. Okay, so 1 3 I gave the pattern. Say shift, shift again. So then, so wait for the square to come, and after the square comes you can just drag. Okay, you can use mouse also. Okay, so you can use mouse also, no problem. So you can see that. Okay, so in that way you are going to get according to the pattern. Okay, so according to the pattern, so in this way you are going to get the range of the cells. Okay, so range of the cells. So whenever I'm talking about the range, so this is how you generally work with the range of the cells. Okay, right. So now, okay, so range of the cells. So whenever I'm talking about the range, so this is the way that you need to look into it. Okay, right. So this is what I have said. So dates also, anything you can get in that way. Okay, so that's autofill. We call it as autofill. We can do the copy and pasting. So that slowly we will do everything. Okay, but going up again, as you can see here, we have three types of references. Okay, so I'll just give you an idea about references in today's session. Okay, so because you need to do a hands-on practice also, so daily I'll be giving you notes with for practice, so you have to do that. Okay, so when I'm talking about relative reference, okay, so it will take a lot of time if I type the notes and do everything, so that is why I have the notes ready with me. So now for example, I have let's say, okay, let's say I have, okay, I will just try to type the data. Okay, so serial number, okay, serial number, name of the product, and let's say quantity, and let's say, okay, I'll close on screen keyboard. So I'll say quantity and I'll say price. Okay, price per piece. Okay, so price per piece. Let's say price per piece. Okay, now how I can do it here? So I want 10 items. So if I want 10 items, what I can do? I can just press it on and go on up to 10 items. Okay, so you can simply delete it, no problem. So name. Okay, so name can be anything. So let me say A B. Okay, so then again use shift and then just drag it. Okay, so right, some AB, right. So now quantity. So quantity I will say 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, 5, 7, 9, 1, and like say 7, like say 8. Okay. Now price per piece. Okay, so price per piece 500, uh, 250, 110, 269, 370. Randomly I'm giving 105, 890, 520, 337, 123. Okay, like this. Now, so there are two quantities and price per each quantity is 500. So now what I want is I want total quantity. I want total quantity. So now go back to the relative reference. So what is relative reference? If you have a formula like A1 plus B1 in cell C1, if you copy it to cell C2, the formula will be automatically adjusted to A2 plus B2. Now what I'm trying to say here is, for example, so what is total quantity? Quantity into price. Okay, quantity into price. Let's say the formula is, so what is it? Quantity into piece. So what is this? 1000. Why I got 1000 here? C10 into D10, right? Now if I copy this, if I go down in the range, so now what is this formula? C11 D11. This formula C12 D12. This formula, this formula, as you can see, we have all the formulas copied with the related cells, with the related cells. So that is what is called as relative reference. What is called as relative reference? What is the relative reference here? Relative reference is nothing but if you have one formula and if you copy across the range, okay, so it is related to the cell in which it is present. That is the point here. Okay, right. So hope everyone understood. If you have any doubts, any questions, please open up your mics and ask. Okay, now next reference is absolute reference. What is this absolute reference? Now let's see here. We have A1 B1. So and in the next cell also I want to have the same column. Now for example, okay, for example, I'll use something like discount here. So discount is 10%. Okay, so discount is 10%. So discount is 10%. Okay. So this 10% should be applied for all this. This only 10% should be applied for all this. Okay. So this only 10% should be applied for all this means, so total quantity into 10 by 100. So total quantity into how much? Total quantity is equal to, so when you're applying discount, what should happen? So total quantity should be, uh, so total quantity should be, okay, let me just write the formula somewhere. Okay, so when you are trying to work with this kind of thing, so what you have to do? So you have to, so discount how much? Discount is equal to 10%. Okay, so if you say total price, so total price should be discounted. Total price is equal to total price minus, okay, so total price minus, okay, so total price is equal to total price minus, okay, so total price, whatever the total price is going to be, the total price column is going to be, so total price minus means something like 1000 minus total price into, okay, so total price into 0.1, okay, so 0.1. So this should be the formula. Okay, so total price should become what? 1000, let's say 1000. So 1000, 10% discount if you are giving. Okay, let's say total price is equal to 1000, and if you are giving a discount of, if you are giving a discount of 10%, so what you are doing? 1000 into 0.1, 1000 into 0.1 means what will happen? 1000 into 0.1 means 1000 minus 1000 into 0.1 means nothing but 1000 minus 100 is equal to how much? Is equal to 900. So this is the formula basically. Okay, so how can I apply this formula? And this 0.1 I should get from this, means this is fixed, this is like fixed. Okay, so where is the fixed column? Fixed column is here. Okay, so fixed cell I should say. Fixed cell is here. Now what I should write? After discount. After discount. So what I should write now? I should use absolute reference. So what is absolute reference basically? Is equal to, where is the total price? Total price. Okay, so where is the total price? So total price is here, E10. Okay, minus, okay, so E10 minus, right, okay, so E10 minus, so what I should say? E10 into E10 into 0.1. Okay, so E10 into 0.1. So what I got here? I got 900. Now this 0.1, okay, so this 0.1, where I should get from? I should get from this column. Okay, I should get from this column. Now for example, if I just say it J9, if I say it J9, okay, so if I say it J9, okay, so if I J9, okay, one second, so J9, okay, so what I should say, J9 by 100, so J9 by 100, right? So what I said here, J9 by 100. So now if I take this, now you are getting, okay, so J10 by 100, okay, so J11 by 100. So J11 does not have a value, so J11 does not have a value, so you are getting the actual price only. Means what I should do? I should go for, I should go for absolute reference. I should go for absolute reference. So what is the absolute reference here? Absolute reference is nothing but use dollar. What you have to use? You have to use the dollar. So dollar A dollar one. Dollar A dollar one. Okay, so dollar A dollar one. So dollar A dollar one, what it will do? It will have the same reference. It will have the same reference. So what I should do now then? I should go and say, okay, so instead of J9, I should go and say dollar J and dollar 9. Okay, so 900 is compulsory, and for all the others also you can see J9 you got. So for all of them you got J9. Okay, so for all of them you got J9. Okay, so J9. So here also J9, here also J9, here also J9, here also J9. Means you are applying 10% discount on each and every item. So this is known as absolute reference. Absolute reference means you are using the same 10% here. Okay, so using the same 10%, same 10%, same 10%. Okay, so that's how you are going to get. So now if I ask you to get the amount of discount, so if I ask you to get the amount of discount, so what will be your answer? Anyone can answer my question. So now, for example, here I should get 100 rupees. Discount is 100 rupees. So now, what is the formula that I can write? If you cannot speak, you can put in the chat box also. You can put in the chat box also if you cannot speak it. So what is the formula that I can apply there? Okay. So the formula is going to be, so discount amount. So 100 minus 900 is 100, no? So what is the discount amount? So this is nothing but E10 minus E10 minus F10. Okay, so simple. So is equal to E10 minus F10. Done. So in this way, you are going to get the amounts. How much is discounted? So here 100 rupees discounted, here 125 rupees discounted, here 33 rupees discounted, here 161.4 is discounted, depending on the total quantity and after discount. So that is how you work with a simple absolute reference. And finally, we will talk about the mixed reference. So mixed reference is nothing but we have one part that is absolute and one part that is relative. One part is absolute, one part is relative. For example, dollar A1, B dollar S1. The column A is absolute and row is relative. Okay, so row is relative. Okay, so row is relative and the column B is relative and while the row is absolute. Okay, so like this. Now, for example, if I'm saying dollar A1, okay, so dollar A1, okay, so and I'm saying here if you see B1, so it will adjust to dollar A to second one. So if you copy the same formula, so it will adjust to this. Okay, so in this way you can mix the things. Okay, so that is how you can use the mixed reference. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here, dollar A1 plus B dollar 1. So dollar A1 in the sense, so first row, let's say first one is going to be dollar A1 B dollar S1. So where A is absolute. Okay, so A is absolute and who is A? Basically column. Okay, and what is relative? Row is relative. Row is relative. And next B is relative and $1 if you are keeping, $1 if you are keeping, what it will become? It will become, okay, now for example, I'll just try to have some values. Okay, so I'll not make it complicated. I'll just use a simple one. So let's say a, okay, let's say x and y. So x, y. Okay, so I'll make it x, y. So here I will use something like 1, 2, okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, let's say. Okay, so now this is my data. Now basically if I want to add this, so generally what I'll do, I will say C28 plus sorry, A28 plus, okay, so A28 plus B28. Now what happened? 1, 2, 3, and here if you are going for it, so it will be 3, 7, 11, because it is just adding both. Okay. Now for example, I want to use the mixed reference. Okay. So what is the mixed reference I said? So here if I'm using dollar A28, okay, so dollar A28. So now what happened? So dollar A28, so dollar B A29, okay, so dollar A30, so dollar A31. So what is not changing? What is not changing? Okay, so right. For example, now if I say dollar here, okay, so 3, so if I say dollar here, so 3, so you can see what you can see here, dollar 28. So here also dollar 28, here also dollar 28, here also dollar 28, and here also dollar 28. So what has become same? So this 28 has become same. So like this, you can have the things. So that's it for today's session. Hopefully everyone understood the class. Okay, anyhow, if you are having any doubts, any questions, so we can have it in our next session also. Okay, so hope today's class is understood. So I'll be sending you these notes as a fresh copy. Okay, thank you everyone. So hopefully we'll meet tomorrow. So if you have any doubts, any questions, you can ask me right now. So it would be great if you make offline, so things will be more interesting. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you so much.